Hello dear friends, welcome back to another video in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's been a while since I posted my last video, and today we are going to revisit the Boeing 737 from PMDG that I have not flown for a while, even though this is a fantastic aircraft. And we will be on a cargo mission from East Midlands Airport in the UK to our destination airport, Copenhagen, Kastrup Airport in Denmark. Actually, this is going to be my first cargo flight with the 737, and the departure is chosen because of this airport being a beautiful creation by Pyric. They recently released an update to this airport, and I think this is one of those fantastic airports that you can get in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It looks absolutely amazing, and I enjoyed the test sector that I flew before recording the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video as well. We are currently cold and dark. We will shortly get into the cockpit and start powering the aircraft and programming our FMC, setting everything for our departure. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And if you have any questions, comments, feel free to drop a comment. I enjoy reading your comments, and I try to respond to all the comments as possibly as I could. So let me know what you think about the 737 and the video. See you in the cockpit very shortly. Before going into the cockpit, I think I should share how beautiful this airport looks in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and a job well done by Pyric. We can just use the drone camera to fly around just a little bit to take a closer look to the airport, but it is absolutely amazing. A lot of good details, very nice texturing, and I'm impressed. This is a really good airport to fly in the United Kingdom. Again, look at the details here. Obviously, there's some LUT issues that I am experiencing and anti-aliasing probably, but overall, with all the static aircraft, and I'm also using FSLTL to inject some live traffic, it looks absolutely amazing. What a beautiful creation from Pyric. Anyway, I think this is enough for the airport, and I'll meet you guys in the cockpit very shortly. Alright, welcome to the flight deck of the beautiful 737 from PMDG. We are currently cold and dark. We will power the aircraft very shortly, but we will first start with requesting refueling from GSX, because I don't remember how well this was integrated with GSX. So let's just give it a try.
Truck is on its way.
And in the meantime, we can go ahead and
aircraft until the fuel truck arrives and
import our flight plan from SimBrief. That's our routing. We will be using Beyond ATC as our offline ATC source. And we'll start with the power up or pre-flight procedure, preliminary pre-flight procedure, to make sure the aircraft is ready to be powered on. I think I accidentally pressed something there. Not sure what it was. Anyway, we'll make sure the wipers are in the park position. Electrical hydraulic pumps are in the off position. Engine start switches are in the off position as well. Going up top, IRSs are off. Window heat is off. And I am hearing the fuel truck. Landing gear is down. Weather radar is off. It's still up in this aircraft. Flaps are retracted. Spoilers are stowed. And parking brake, we can set the parking brake right now, and then we are ready to power the aircraft. But before doing so, let's go ahead and see how we are going to refuel this aircraft. Okay, so that's the fuel truck, and it's waiting an input from us, I believe. Let's see here if we can set plant fuel is what it's expecting us to do. So we can turn the batteries on to take a look at the setup. Actually, it's through here, fuel. How much fuel we need for the flight is the question. So the block fuel we need is 7,090 kilograms, and we have 6,300. So let's round it up to 7,100, and that should trigger the fueling. There we go. So that's how you do it. Okay, that's good to know. And once we complete the fueling, we can continue with the electrical power up and introduce AC power to the aircraft. And there it is. Fueling is complete. We don't have ground power, but we can request ground power from the menu, and we should be able to introduce DC power to the AC power to the aircraft. There it is, ground power available. We'll mark that, and we will go and arm the emergency exit lights. And while we have the AC power, we can continue with our overhead flow. I have a printed checklist for the 737, so I'll be probably using that. We have power to the aircraft. We can turn the nav lights on, and we'll continue with our overhead flow. We'll come back for the IRS. We are not quite ready for that. The yaw damper requires some time before it can be engaged, so we will skip that for now. All is in its normal positions here, so we don't need to do anything here. Fuel pumps will remain off until we are ready to start the APU and the engines later. We can check the voltages, transformer rectifier unit 3, 2, and 1, as well as the auxiliary battery. Ground power is displayed here. Battery voltage is looking good, so nothing to worry there. We should not see anything anywhere else, so we'll just leave that alone. Nothing to do here. Obviously the engine generators will remain off at this point. Wiper will remain off. We can get some integral lighting. Equipment cooling, we don't change it. No smoking signs can go to on, and we'll just turn on the seatbelt signs. Even though this is a cargo flight, we might be carrying some personnel with us. Starter panel will remain in its current state for the time being. We will turn on the window heats. Electrical pumps will remain in the off position for now. Pressurization, nothing to do here. Packs, nothing to do here. And pressurization panel, nothing to do here. We'll come back for this. So that's the overhead, and we can continue with the checklist. Parking brake is set, battery guard is closed, standby power guard is closed. Left center fuel pump as required, we don't need it. Left aft fuel pump as required, we don't need it. APU start, no, we don't, not gonna use APU just yet. Position lights are at steady, logo light is not required. Emergency exit lights, guard is closed. Passenger signs are on. PEGs, we don't need to turn them on yet. And we finally can do the IRS mode selector switches. 1 and 2 to nav. And we are ready to go down to our flight management computer and start initializing our position. 737-800 BDSF, 26K engines, July 11, August 8, nav data is current, and we can continue with the position initialization. Reference import Echo Golf November X-ray, and then we can grab the GPS position once it's available and plug it here. We are currently at the cargo ramp, and our position is W102. We can plug that into the gate to see how accurate our, well, it's not in the database. Okay, maybe 102 is. I'm not sure how the scenery is coded. Okay, that looks close. We still don't have the GPS position here. We are waiting for the IRS system to grab our position in one of the left and right. There it is. We'll put it into the scratch pad and paste it here. That's spot on. So actually that was the correct gate without the W. Cool. All right, now we can request the flight plan. Can get rid of that, and now we can request our flight plan, Simbrief flight plan. We can set the payload and the fuel, even though we fueled up the aircraft, and we might need to change the fuel later on. Selecting the route, requesting the flight plan, and in the meantime we can start the boarding, which will start loading the cargo to the aircraft.
Boarding requested.
There we go.
Passenger's bus is coming.
Right, the route uplink is ready. We will load our route. There we go, activate button is there, so that means our route is loaded, and this is as much as we will do before contacting ATC to request our clearance. But first we need to connect and listen to the ADIS information to set our barometric pressure and our primary flight display. ADIS frequency is 122.68. 122.68, and let's see what the ADIS information is.
East Midlands Airport Information Echo 0653 Zulu. Wind 060 at 5. Temperature 16. Dew point 12. QNH 1018. Landing and departing runway 27. Transition level 060. Read back all hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information echo.
Okay, so that's what we needed. We have information echo. Landing and departing runways are runway 27, so that's what we should expect from clearance delivery. Transition altitude 6000, winds are 060 at 5 knots. And that's pretty much it. And that's what we needed. Ground frequency is 121.905. We'll tune the ground. 905. That's cool. Switch to the clearance delivery or ground frequency rather. And we can now request our clearance. So we will keep the departure and arrival pages open. We know we will be getting runway 27, but let's see what else. East Midlands ground. Oh, wrong button. Okay, let's do this one more time. East Midlands ground, World Express 1850 at stand 102. Requesting clearance to Kastrup Airport with information echo.
World Express 1850, East Midlands ground. Thanks for echo. Expect runway 27, TNT 2 November departure.
There we go.
Squawk tree 111.
Okay, let's read this back. Expect runway 27, TNT 2 November departure, squawk 3111, World Express 1850.
World Express 1850, read back correct. Call me back when ready for pushback or engine start.
Wilco, World Express 1850. Alright, that's our instruction. We are given runway 27, TNT 2 November departure, and no transition, so that concludes our route. We can activate and execute. We are not ready to plan our departure yet. Squawk is 3111, so let's set our transponder. 3, 1, 1 and 1. That's set in the box. And we will call when we are ready for departure. Why is our screen not showing here? Oh, there we go. I accidentally clicked that when I was trying to move my mouse. Looks like it. I did not realize which one I clicked, but that's good to know. While we are here, we can set the auto brakes to RTO. We are not given an initial clearance, so we will keep it at 10,000 and we'll see what ATC gives us after takeoff. Cargo loading is underway and looks like the cargo door is being closed. We might be done with the loading. That pretty much concludes the cargo loading. So that means we can go ahead and start our APU. Alright. Starter to start and back. We'll turn on the aft fuel pump on the left side just to supply APU with fuel. We can turn on our yaw damper now. It's been a while since we turned on the AC power and the IRS switches to now. We see the APU is pulling up. So one thing this aircraft that I have changed from the cold and dark setup is the stab trim switches. We will close the guards there. We are getting ready to start the engine, so it makes sense to do a fire test. Well, that's not that one, this one here. Don't we have the ground power available? It is available. Okay, APU is available too now, so let's switch to APU power. And we can try the test once more. There we go. That's done. And then the squeak test. So most of the aircraft in Microsoft's Flight Simulator without any system failure simulation will give you these options to do the fire test and etc. But in my opinion they are useless because those systems will never fail due to not having those simulations coded into the aircraft. Anyhow, that's that part done. We can do the cargo fire test because we are a freighter at this point. That's also done. Now we can turn the APU bleed. We can turn the packs on for a while to get some fresh air into the cabin and continue with the rest of the FMC programming. Performance we know we are departing runway 27. We can import the weights from the aircraft. We want to take off with flaps 5. We can import the weather and calculate our performance. We will need this information very shortly. Alright, V1 139, we rotate 139, V2 145, flex temperature 32, and takeoff D rate 2. Back to the FMC, we can continue with our performance initialization. Zero fuel weight can be copied over. Reserves, let me check the flight prime very quickly. So 2.48, we'll just call it 2.5 tons of reserve fuel. Cost index is 53. Cruise level is flight level 370. Cruise wind looks like is 263 at 46. And top of climb outside air temperature according to our flights plan briefing is minus 54 degrees Celsius. So minus 54, let's correct this. Transition altitude seems to be correctly coded. We will execute our performance. Planned fuel was also 7.1. We can plug this in here as well. And move on to the M1 limits. 32 degrees according to our performance calculation. D rate 2. And we will do climb 1 and derate the climb as well, just to save on the fuel. We can keep it here. This is just optional. I like to do it this way, but I couldn't find any documentation when to select these and how it ties to your performance calculation. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. As you may heard from me so many times, I'm not a real world pilot. So if you are a Boeing 737 pilot, or if you know when this is selected and under what conditions, please leave me a comment and educate me. Alright, takeoff. We set flaps 5. Takeoff CG 24.9. It should be also displayed here. Let me see. Maybe I'm just mistaken this with another aircraft, so that's good enough for me. 24.9, and that gives us 138, 138, 145. That's within 1 knot of the calculated speed, so we will accept the FMC speeds in this case. And that gives us what we need to set up our main control panel. Flight directors can now go on. Our runway heading should be around 270 or close, so we will set a preliminary heading to the heading bar to align with the runway heading roughly. 145 is our V2. We'll add 5 knots to that for wind correction and set it to 150. That's now set, and that's the MCP for you. And we are very close to get the pushback clearance and request pushback and leave the gate. Alright, couple things that we got left to do. First one, we will go to the route page, next page, and then no, not there, I'm sorry. Descent page should have the forecast for the winds, so we will request the descent winds and load that forecast, and we'll have the cruise winds under the cruise page. I mistaken the FMC with the 777 where it was in a different location, but we will load the descent winds. That's done. Execute this. Cruise, climb, and next page, route data, route winds request. That's where it is. Okay, I remembered. It's been a while, as I said, since I flew the 737. That's requested and should be ready for loading very shortly. There we go. We'll load the cruise wind uplink into our FMC. Execute that too. This is for accurate fuel burn calculations, and I think we are good. Yeah, let's load this one more time just to be on the safe side, because I did it in a reverse order. You do the cruise winds first and then the descent next, but that's done. So we will move to the takeoff page. Trim is 515. We'll set our trim to 515. Shouldn't take too long. And that's really pretty much it. We are ready to leave the gate, but we will just do the before start checklist before we request the pushback to be on the safe side. Alright, transponder is set, indicated airspeed is set in the box, heading is set for the runway QDM, initial altitude is set, yaw damper is on, window heats are on, flight altitude, that's why we need to do the checklist. So 37,000 feet, we'll set the pressurization system to 37,000. That's now set. Landing altitude, I believe Copenhagen is 50 feet, but I will double check that when we are en route. Flight directors are on. LNAV, VNAV, we can arm those for now. Minimums, reference, barometric or radio. We'll just use barometric minimums for our arrival. And the other thing is, we can use the radio minimums and maybe set this for 1500 to ensure we will be good to engage the autopilot, but seems like I am failing to increase it, so we will just leave it alone for now. Altimeters are set, auto brake is RTO, comm radios are set, and doors are closed, which we can check through here. There should be, well, forward entry and aft entry is open, so we can go ahead and close those because boarding is now complete. I will use the Copilot FMC for that. Doors close. Now doors are closed. Auto throttle can be now armed. And we can request a pushback, continue our flow and the checklist. Let's first contact the ground and request our pushback from the ground first. East Midlands ground, World Express 1850, ready for pushback and engine start.
World Express 1850, East Midlands ground. Pushback and engine start approved. Face east.
Pushback and engine start approved, facing east, World Express 1850. Okay, that's our pushback clearance. Let's call GSX for pushback and departure. There we go. Now we are getting ready for pushback. We'll turn the beacon light on. We'll turn our fuel pumps on. We will use right starter to start the engines. Electrical hydraulic pumps can be turned on at this point.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
And we can check the crossfeed valve
All aircraft
operation.
need live information. Foxtrot now current. QNH 1018.
1018. And information has changed. Turn the seatbelts to on. And we should have the ground crew getting ready for pushback. Okay, we haven't removed the ground power unit and wheel chocks removed. Ground power is now disconnected. Disconnecting. We can go to the FMC and put the legs page here. Recall check. That's the electrical, which is normal. Alright, we can turn the packs off for engine start. Secondary display unit will be selected for the engine. There we go. It's lifting the aircraft. So according to our pushback instruction, we should be facing east. In that case, it's gonna be tail right, nose left.
Release parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes
Commencing
released.
push. All engines are clear. Start at will.
Okay, we will wait just a little bit until we leave the gate to start the engines. Okay, we are clear enough to start with our right engine. So starter selector will go to ground and we will monitor the N2 rotation here. Passing 20%. Introducing fuel, and we are waiting for fuel flow here. Fuel flow, EGT, so that's light off, and M1 rotation. And the last thing we are checking is the oil pressure increasing as the engine spools up. That's a sign of a good engine start, so we will continue with the right engine, or left engine, I'm sorry, very shortly. Right, waiting for starter disconnect or disengage. There we go. Now left engine doing the same thing, monitoring the N2 rotation, waiting for 20%. There's 20%, introducing fuel, waiting for the fuel flow. Fuel flow is seen, light off,
Please set parking brakes.
and oil pressure. Parking brakes are set.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Okay, I think we have a good engine start. We can tell the ground crew to disconnect.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking the nose gear.
There we go. Alright, so now we are ready to request our taxi clearance. And then we'll be on our way. We'll start the clock. We should have started this before pushback, but so be it. We'll put the terrain on the navigation display. And I'm gonna wait for the traffic until the ground crew is clear of the aircraft. So far, so good. Both engines are stable, so let's turn the engine generators on and tags to on.
Disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
Isolation valve to auto.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Taxi lights to on, because we will get taxi clearance very shortly. I'm not sure if this is done after you receive the taxi clearance in real world, so let me know if you know it for sure, but I will turn it on for now. Okay, so APU bleed can be turned off, and finally we can turn off the APU. Probe heats can be turned on, and we are ready to request our taxi clearance and be on our way. There is the pin. Alright. East Midlands ground. World Express 1850, ready to taxi to active runway.
World Express 1850, runway 27 taxi via Bravo, Alpha, Alpha 1.
Runway 27, taxi via Bravo, Alpha, Alpha 1, World Express 1850. That's our taxi routing. Let's just check the chart to see if we can get the taxi chart here. Departure charts. Airport. Let's zoom in just a tiny bit. So we are given Bravo, which is this, I believe, Alpha and Alpha 1. So very easy taxiway. We are going to hit and use this turn to join the taxiway, and then all the way down to Alpha 1 and the runway 27. Runway Q2M is 268, so let's correct our heading slightly to match the runway QDM. And taxi lights are on. Runway turn off lights can be turned on now. We'll set our flaps to takeoff flap setting of 5. Flaps 5 selected. Trim is set. Spoilers good. There is a message in the FMC. Takeoff speeds. Yep, they are verified. We'll verify them one more time. And we are good to go. Alright. Parking brake disengaged. Little bit of breakaway power. Start the aircraft moving. And there we go. Nice and easy. So now our flight is underway. I'm gonna taxi to the runway and bring you guys back when we are holding short at runway 27. Let's go back to idle thrust. Beautiful aircraft. Very nice. Alright, see you at the hold short point. Welcome back, friends. We are very close to runway 27. Eventless taxi. Had to keep the power slightly around 25% to keep the aircraft moving, but beautiful day at East Midlands, and we are approaching the East Cargo Terminal on our right side here. We just passed the passenger terminal, and right ahead of us is Alpha 1 and runway 27. We are almost there. So as you see, 25 on the left engine, right engine is a little bit behind, so let's increase the power there to match the engines. And that gave us around 12-13 knots of taxi speed. You can go a little bit faster than this. I wasn't in a hurry, so I'm not worried about that. We will reach the hold short point, set the parking brakes, do our before takeoff checklist to the line, request clearance, and do the before takeoff checklist below the line, and be on our way. Just a little bit of way left to the runway, and we will be there very shortly. Welcome back, friends. We are almost at the hold short point, and we will be stopping here momentarily to complete our before takeoff procedure and the checklist, and we will be on our way. Let's stop here, set our parking brakes, well, something is wrong. Why am I not able to set my parking brakes? Let's try this one more time. There is definitely something wrong here, but I will hold the brakes. I'm not sure if it's my controller. Okay, it looks like it is set now. No. There we go. Nice. Alright, I didn't know what went wrong there, but let's complete our before takeoff flow and the checklist above the line. Fuel flow, we will reset the fuel flow and then put it to rate. Center fuel pumps are not required. We don't have any fuel in the center tanks. If you check here, that's 0. Anti-ice we will not need. Cabin lights are on. Flight instruments we checked. I did the flight controls check while taxiing. Engine instruments are looking good. Takeoff, we have V1 139, V rotate 139 and V2 145. 138, 138, 145, I'm sorry, and the trim is 5.15. And navigation equipment is in good condition. And we'll turn the transponder to TA array at this point. And we are ready to request our clearance. East Midlands Tower, World Express 1850, ready for departure, holding short runway 27.
World Express 1850, East Midlands Tower, wind 050 at 5, runway 27, cleared for takeoff.
Our co-pilot respond.
Cleared for takeoff. World Express 1850.
We'll turn the landing lights on. Taxi lights off. Strobes can go on. And we are ready to enter the runway after the checklist below the line. Landing lights are on, strobe is on, taxi lights are off, transponder is TA array. Traffic, we will turn on the traffic on our ND and we will reset and restart the clock. That's our taxi time. And there we go. Parking brakes are disengaged. A little bit of brake of power. And off we go. Nice and easy. For takeoff, we'll turn the engine start switches to continuous ignition. And we will line up with the runway. Be on our way very shortly. Beautiful. There is runway 27 identified. We see the numbers on the ground. That's good enough for me. And we will do a rolling takeoff, advance the throttles to 40% M1, wait for the engines to stabilize. The engines are stable and toga. Applying a little bit of forward pressure on the yoke, maintaining the center line. Rear speed is alive. Check. 80 knots, relieving the pressure. Coming up to our V1 and we rotate. And the sim gets stuck. Alright, pulling back on the yoke slightly and off we go. Following the flight director, positive rate, gear is coming up. Lowering the nose to follow the flight director. Underway to our destination. Our co-pilot will take care of the communications. We are passing 1600 feet, so we can engage the autopilot. Alright, autopilot is engaged. We will wait for the communication to the tower. Or
good day, 2,100 feet.
Departure.
World Express 1850, East Midlands departure, identified, climb to flight level 180.
We are cleared to 180. We will set that into our altitude selector and we'll continue with the after takeoff. close. Ignition's back to off. Auto brake can be turned off now. We passed the clean flap speed, so flaps are coming in. Turn off lights are turned off, so we don't have to deal with those. And we can do the after takeoff checklist. After takeoff checklist, gear is up, flaps are up, auto brakes is off, engine start switches in off position, runway turn off lights are off, and cabin lights are as required. So after takeoff checklist complete. Beautiful. And there we are, departing from East Midlands to our destination Copenhagen. So far so good. We will continue monitoring the instruments and the things that we need to do. We have a 6,000 restriction, if I'm not mistaken, for a while until we clear this D160 waypoint. We'll increase the range to 40 miles and put the weather here, even if it's not working, and checking the FMC here. Yep, D160 flight level 060, so until that waypoint we will not climb above flight level 060, which means we cannot set the standard altimeter. We will wait for that and enjoy the view of the United Kingdom while we are doing this. Very nice. I believe you can reset the clock using this button here. I keep forgetting to test it, but I believe that's what that button is for. We can get some panel lighting to the center pedestal. That's pretty much it. What we need to do, getting close to that waypoint, and we are probably going to see the aircraft climbing again. We are holding 250 knots or close. We will sync our heading bug. You should get used to doing this all the time. We are about to start climbing again. There we go. VNAV speed M1, which means the aircraft will follow the VNAV speed and calculated climb profile to start climbing again. Passing 6,100, standard barometric pressure is selected, and that's pretty much it until we reach 10,000. Then we will turn off our landing lights and wait for the aircraft to reach the cruise level. Nice. I think this is pretty much what you need to do to get her up in the air and start climbing to your cruise level. We are cleared until 18,000 feet, and we will probably receive more clearance to a higher altitude very shortly. Passing 8,000 here. Looking beautiful outside. I enjoy flying in the United Kingdom. This is one of my favorite places in the world to fly in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't know why, but it just feels different to me. Alright, passing 9,000, getting close to 10,000. There is 9,900 and 10,000. Landing lights are coming off. And that's the last thing we need to do until we reach cruise. I will keep climbing until the cruise level and then bring you guys back when we are close to our top of descent. There is nothing to really talk about while we are cruising at 37,000 feet. See you in a little bit. Welcome back, friends. We are almost at our cruise level of flight level 370. It's been an eventless climb and an enjoyable flight so far. So let's talk about the cruise stuff. There is really not much to do, as I mentioned before, but we will talk about those and then end the part 1 video here, and in part 2 we will talk about the top of descent and descent preparations, arrival, approach, and landing, because I want to keep the videos around 35-40 minutes. So that's the altitude signal telling us that we are reaching cruise level. So what we will do at cruise is, one, we can put the seatbelt signs to auto. Even though we are not carrying passengers, we might have some personnel back there in the aircraft. Fuel quantity, we have roughly 5 tons of fuel, slightly shy of 5 tons. We'll check the progress page. Our arrival fuel is looking like 3.4. We have more than our reserve, so that's good. And we will tune the ADIS frequency of the arrival airport 122.855 to our COM2 radio, just to be on alert to listen to the ADIS once we start receiving the signal. Remember, we haven't given our arrival instructions yet. That's yet to be seen. And we are waiting on ATC to tell us our arrival and the runway, landing runway, so that we can program our FMC for our arrival. None of those will be set until we hear it from ATC, but we will monitor the progress page and the fuel and enjoy the cruise. So that's what we need to do. This is the end of part 1 of the PMDG 737 freighter from East Midlands Airport in the UK to Kastrup Airport in Denmark. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider giving a like. And if you stumbled upon this video and not a channel subscriber, please consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on the notifications to get notified for future videos. Thanks for being here with me today, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.